For this demo, we're actually going to show you how to steal passwords off a box. But first I want to show you where passwords are stored. We'll start with a Linux box. Now, typically, those are stored in a file called etc shadow. And if I were just to say cat etc shadow, I would not be able to because I'm not logged in as root. In Linux, only the root user can read etc shadow. So we have to su to root or sudo. And now I can say cat etc shadow. And if you look, there's a lot of accounts here. Some of these are machine counts, but I have a Bobby account down there, and that is the encrypted password right there. And it starts with $6, and $6 indicates the hashing algorithm. In this case, it's SHA. And this password hash goes all the way down to here. So it's a very huge password hash. So if we wanted to crack that, we would have to steal that hash and start one of the cracking methods in order to do so. We'll talk about password cracking a little bit later. So now let's flip to a Windows box, and I'll show you how to steal a password from a Windows box. Okay, we're going into our Windows XP box. And as you can see, I have some very interesting usernames that I've assigned to this box. I'm a Superman fan from way back, so thought I'd add some cute usernames in there. Clark Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and Lois Lane. And we'll be cracking their passwords a little bit later. But let's log in right now. And I want to show you one way you can get passwords off of a box. Now, this is not the only way, and it's probably worth talking about this for a moment. Getting passwords off of a box is not the easiest thing in the world to do. If you have physical access, then it's actually fairly easy, and that's probably the best way to do it. But that's not the only way to do it. You can get passwords across the wire. You can get the user to send them to you if you trick them through social engineering techniques. There's a lot of different ways. And as a matter of fact, later on in the course, I'm going to show you a couple of these ways. I'll show you how you can intercept plaintext passwords across the wire, and we'll talk about ways to get the user to give up their password through social engineering. There are also other tools, Trojans and viruses and so forth, that we can get on the system that can steal passwords across the network. For now, though, let's look at a simple way to get passwords from a Windows box, assuming we have physical access. Now, we'll talk about physical access a little bit later during this chapter, but basically, let's assume for a moment I'm on this box. I've stuck a USB stick in here with a particular program called pwdump7, and pwdump7 will extract the password hashes from the Windows SAM file. And that's where they're stored on Windows, is in the SAM file. And it's been that way almost since Windows was invented, at least since the NT4 days. So let's do a directory here, and I'll show you pwdump. Very simple program, has one DLL and a README file. Now, there's a couple of different ways we could use this. We could actually dump these to a file. As a matter of fact, we could just run it by itself, and they'll show up on the screen. Let's do that. And so now we have password hashes, okay? Now, on the screen, they're not going to do us much good, but you can see how they're arranged. These are all the accounts on the box. These are the different accounts, the administrator and its SID. An administrator has a SID on a Windows box of 500. That's kind of like the UID on a Linux box. You also have a guest account, 501. That's almost always the guest account SID. Now, notice that the guest account has no password. It may be locked, but it has no password. Then we have the built-in help assistant account and the built-in support account. And notice that the support account has no password either. Now, there are other accounts on the box, and we have Bobby, Lois, Clark, Jimmy, and the ASP.NET account that's built in, and we have the UIDs following those. On Windows, user IDs, and these aren't the entire SIDs, the security identifier. These are just the last few digits. But Windows assigns them starting in the 1000 range, 1003, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And those are normal users typically. And notice that they have their encrypted passwords next to them. And they could actually have several different hashes here, depending upon whether the box uses LM or LM hash, or rather LM hash or NTLM. And so you could get both hashes conceivably. Now, this, again, is not going to do us much good sitting here on the box. We need to take this file somewhere and go crack it offline. So let's go ahead and let's say that we run this again and send it to a file, and we'll take this file with us, take it to another box, and start cracking them a little bit later. So if we do a notepad, make sure we got it, so we got our hashes there. So had we stuck a USB stick in here and ran this file real quick, this pwdump, we could have had it send this password hash file back to our USB stick, and walked away. And we could have done this all in under a minute, probably under 30 seconds, as long as we had 30 seconds of physical access to the box with it logged in. So that's one way of stealing a password from a Windows box. Again, there are other ways. Physical access typically doesn't happen as much because people mind and watch their computers a little bit closely these days. Network access is probably the better, most common way. Social engineering is a good way, obviously. So we'll talk about some of these other ways of stealing passwords later on as we go through the course.